My name's Simon. I am a recovered addict.
Hey Simon.
Hi Simon.
Welcome to Cocaine Anonymous. If there's any new members at the meeting today, then you are welcome. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's made the meeting what it is today. Old timers included. Can't do what we do without you guys. And that reading, I opened it up yesterday as I got asked to share at this meeting, and it's not conventional reading that's read out as we speak about the topics of the blank spot, the twist, and there's some others in there. My memory's not great. If anybody knows me, they know that I've got a mental blank spot that could cover the whole group here today, and it's work in progress, it really is. So, you may have heard a few suggestions being branded around in that reading, and if you are new to the fellowship, I would suggest to you guys to find yourself a sponsor if you really think that your problem is severe enough for you to need to do something about it. And that's the point where I started many years ago. So I'm going to go back to my using, and what happened to me was I started using drugs. It was alcohol to begin with, and I didn't use like my friends used. I used to drink to excess. I used to put it down to I was smaller than everybody else, so they could handle their beer much more than me and their drugs. That was my excuse at the time. But I then found myself just stealing from shops at an early age. I must have been 16 years old, stealing for that alcohol. I don't remember or recall any other people doing this. It was just me, because I'd be going out to see my friends, and I didn't want to, that's what we did. Well, that's what I did. I used to steal stuff, but we just used to get together and take drugs and drink alcohol. And I progressed through the drugs after the alcohol. Wasn't, after I took it to the excess and couldn't take it no further, I then moved on to drugs, and I did the exact same thing with the drugs. I took as much as I possibly could until I got to the A-class drugs, where, I'd like to say that I settled down into the A-class drugs, but it just absolutely obliterated me completely, physically, over the 20 years of using them. And through that period of time, I was unaware. I was aware that somebody told me after I took heroin that it was addictive after about 4 weeks after me taking it, and that was my first acknowledgement around, or awareness around, addiction. And like I said, I followed that trail for a long time, and I moved around a lot. I never stayed in one place. I'd always move. I literally have never, ever in my entire life lived anywhere for longer than 2 years. And that feels strange. It feels strange to try and change that when you've got a lifetime of doing things a certain way, to then put all that stuff behind you, no matter what it might be, and to change and live a different way of life. So Just somebody helloing down there. Hello. So I was in prison, and I was saying to myself, I spent my birthday, Christmas, New Year, behind the door of a prison cell. On New Year's Eve, everybody was smashing the windows, like banging the windows, celebrating, seeing the new year in. And I was thinking to myself, I don't ever want to ever experience this ever again. And I was resolute in what I was saying. You know, I wasn't sure, but I was saying to myself, but I didn't want to do this. No, Joe. So having said to myself, this is not what I want to do. You know, I've then identified now that I'm using against my will. So 15 years later, when I stepped into the fellowship, I was told that you're using against your will. And that's exactly what I was doing for a long time. I'm going to go into, my drug use. I really do not like talking about my drug use. You know, I can quite easily sit here and say, yeah, in the good times, I would wake up in the morning to a crack pipe and a nice bit of gear, which I'd smoke and then think about framing it and putting it on the wall because it was just a work of art and stuff like that. But I don't like talking about my drug use at all. I really don't. It took me to some horrible places. You know, the pin, for example, number one. You know, doing that injection of the crack cocaine and heroin was, at the time, it felt great. But I ended up in front of a doctor with him saying to me, how long do you think you're going to live? Carry on doing what you're doing. Which I've just completely ignored. I thought, he had some cheek telling me this. I didn't say that to him, but I was quite shocked when he said it to me. So now I'm part of Cocaine Anonymous. I'm proud to say that I'm part of Cocaine Anonymous. And have been for the past 16 months. I've been along with a few people from the Birmingham Fellowship, and during that time I've seen people come in, I've seen people go out and die. I've had family members die. I've been homeless during that time, up the road in a homeless hostel through Christmas, and not using. It was a strange experience. It was a proper parallel, because the year before I was in that place flat out. So there was some seismic shift there, and I can only put it down to the people here in Cocaine Anonymous. And what we express is the power. What I express is the power greater than myself. I can start by saying, the suggestions that you may have heard earlier. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they said that to me that the first suggestion is that you concede to your innermost self that we were powerless. And then from there went on to believe that there was a power greater than myself. I had a concept of God. I really do not like using the word God at all. I have some kind of religious... There is a word in this book that it mentioned, conviction, I think it was. How can I forget that? And I'm doing work around that. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I really have. I knew that I needed to fly through these steps. I knew it at the bottom of my heart that I had to do the necessary work, And so that's what I did. I got myself a sponsor. I picked up the pen, I picked up the phone, engaged, connected with the people in the fellowship. I'm part of public information, which is, you know, it doesn't just connect me to the fellowship, it connects the fellowship to the general public, as we like to call them. And I enjoy doing that most of the time. I really do. You know, I don't enjoy doing quite a lot of things, but that is something that I'm getting into doing. I'm trying to think now. Completed the 12 steps, which I'm really proud of. I have a beautiful daughter, and there was something, because obviously I was doing a share last night in my head when I was at home, about 10 of them. And I was going to mention something about my daughter, but I don't really want to trail back to there, because I don't like going backwards and forwards and stuff like that. This is my first share in Cocaine Anonymous, and I don't speak much. I do a lot of listening. You know, I try my best to remain open-minded at all times, especially when it comes to doing the inventory around the aspects of my defects of character, because that is the crux of the problem for me. You know, other people are just other people. You know, they do what they do, and that's up to them. And that'll bring me on to working with other people. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, is work with addicts or alcoholics that have been through or are going through what I've been through, because I can relate to the experience that they are going through completely. And that came about from me being introduced to the fellowship. No, tell a lie, never. I wanted to do it before. But that just when I come to the fellowship, that just reaffirmed it for me, because I've seen the steps and I've seen at the end it says help somebody, so that was me straight away. I jumped on that. You know, don't matter about the rest, I'll just do 12 and then I'll be alright. And it didn't work. It took me 8 years to get 1 year clean. 8 years, and 2 weeks later I relapsed. And it was that's what got my ass to Birmingham. 8 years it took me to get that year. So my recovery is progressive, as my using was. That's I like to spin things around and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really good. So what I'm skirting around is the fact that helping people was something that I wanted to do, and I'm privileged to be sat here today. I hope that somebody has got, anything from what I've said to them, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.